Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome again to our channel. Today our guest is Matanga Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, welcome.
Hare Krishna.
I'm very happy that you're here with us.
Hare Krishna Chandrika, thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure for me as well.
Jai. Matanga Prabhu is from Bulgaria, and during the years he had many services, like he was personal servant of Kadambakana Maharaj, traveling with him. Also, he was serving in Radha Govinda Temple in New York, and now he's here in Bulgaria with us, and we are very happy.
Back home.
Yeah, back home. So, Prabhu, we have one question. How did you come to Krishna consciousness?
How did I come to Krishna consciousness? That's such a nice thing to ask the devotees, huh?
Yes.
To see how, just the world doesn't work the way we want it to work, and then, we just start looking for something, and then transformation. So it's always, a great hype to hear the devotees' stories. My story, in many ways, is a classic. I was in my teenage years. I lived here in Bulgaria for 13 years, and then my father, he went to look for fortune, look for work in Italy, as many East Europeans do, because back in those days, economically, it was much more difficult here, post-Sovietic. Yeah. So that was his main purpose. He went there and he struggled for a couple of years, but he found a nice arrangement, and then gradually he took all the family there. So when I was, I think, 2004, I was 13 years old, and we went to live in Italy, and it was kind of a change for me, but it took me a couple of years to adapt, but it was positive. I liked Italy. It has a nice food, architecture, and Italians are nice. Not all of them, mostly the southern Italians. They're more
warm,
they're more close to our vibe. Not that northern Italians are bad, but just a bit different. So Italy. So in my teenage years, I was there, and I was having this nice situation. My father was working, my mother was there, my sister. And then I went to school, and puberty was kicking in, as I was telling you before. So I was gradually coming to reality, coming to realize the real world, what's going on in society nowadays, and
and you were disappointed,
Well, initially, in your puberty, you just start enjoying and hanging out with the ladies, because that's the hormone starts pumping, and pumping in, and then just partying and gatherings and just alcohol. At least this was my experience. I was kind of living the European dream.
Okay.
They have the American dream, but we also have the European dream here.
Nice.
Not much different. And that type of lifestyle was enjoyable in the beginning, but then you start realizing that there's not much substance there. In a matter of fact, it was the opposite. At one point, I just started getting frustrated and depressed, and just having an existential crisis. Like, what the heck is going on here? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. That this is what they taught me, society, my parents, just enjoy the world, enjoy your senses, have a drink, go clubbing, have sex, as much as possible, have a girlfriend and maybe cheat on her. That's also good,
Yes.
Hypocrisy will be accepted as virtue. That's what the Bhagavatam says. And in a matter of fact, you're feeling like you're living a fake life, and I was unhappy. I had some moments in my 16, 17 years of age where I was very depressed and like having a real existential crisis, just questioning the very
Wow.
purpose of my life. Like, what's going on here? And then I saw other people also were unhappy, as much unhappy or even more than me, and so much unfortunate. And it's just such a cruel world. I was basically sobering up from my kids years. Kids, you're in la la land, just
Yes.
playing around, and everything is good. Mama is taking care, Papa is paying everything, and then you have to study and then work. I was like, what? I was like, what do I have to even study? I'm so confused.
Mm.
So confused. I don't know what am I supposed to do? And then I have to work, have a career, work 8 hours every day,
5 years, 5 days.
paycheck, 5 days, get a little morsel here and there, have maybe 2 weeks of a break during August. Just like that was what was presented to me, it's like it's how the world is. And I was like, I couldn't fit it in my mind. I wasn't really fitting in this system, and I've been kind of a rebel in my life always. I've been always like different and alternative and the black sheep in my class, and just I never really fitted in this model. And that was a crucial point in my life where I really felt like there's something terribly wrong here. So that was my search, my quest uh, for enlightenment started from those moments, from those kind of frustrations and pains, delusions from my circle, from my family even.
But most people, most teenagers don't have these thoughts. They just want to enjoy. I mean, this is
Yeah,
something special that you are thinking about.
yeah, yeah. I think that was my Rahu period. So it was,
Oh.
yeah, it was. Rahu brings a lot of confusion. It amplifies your emotional grief and so forth. So that helped, I guess. And yeah, I guess I always had in me some search for the supernatural. I always kind of believed in that there is more that meets than what meets the eye.
And your parents, they're just regular, like atheists? Or?
No, actually, they're kind of nice people in many ways. Just very confused as much as I was. I took it from them, I guess. Just bad association, Kali Yuga. They're nice people. My mother, she believes in God in her own way. She pretends to be a Christian, but she doesn't really understand scripture. She doesn't really understand the rituals. We do the things for health, for good health, and how Bulgarians are. Just follow the traditions, just in case.
Yes.
And my father, he also kind of believed a little bit. He was afraid of God. I noticed that.
Wow.
He was aware that there is a supernatural power, and my grandma also. Yeah, bit difficult. My father was drinking a lot, and just a lot of bickering, a lot of quarreling in the home, and classic. So it's a classic, both in Europe and in the other Western countries. In America, people just drink or take drugs or just have these obsessive habits that really, really disturb their brains, and then that disturbance just goes to the kids, to the wife, or vice versa, to the husband. Um, but yeah, they're generally nice people, good intention, but just ignorant.
Yeah.
Don't know how to do the things properly. Don't know what's the real aim of life, and so I inherited that from them. But they gave me all the love that I needed. At least I grew up
Nice.
normal. I don't have like this childhood trauma that many
Yes.
many are experiencing nowadays. Many kids and grown up and taking psycho. So I'm very fortunate in that way to have really loving parents. You know, they really took care of me, although they also had their faults and whatnot. But yeah, so I was at that stage in my life where I felt like I have to look for deeper meaning. So I started researching on the web. Fortunately, social media, or unfortunately, as many would say, social media and the internet was um, quite the trend in at that time, and you know, a lot of information, new age movement, you know, spirituality, yoga, meditation, Buddhism, Zen, all the stuff was all over Facebook and YouTube. So I started researching and I tried meditation, tried vegetarian diet, and I saw there is substance in this kind of thing. So I was naturally drawn
Nice.
to this path.
Yeah.
And like that, gradually throughout my late teenage years, then we moved out to, we were living in a smaller town. Then at one point in my early 20s, we went to live in a bigger kind of city, a little bigger. It's not a big one, but I had a chance to join a yoga class there, and that was a turning point in my life because I really got to practice something
Okay.
substantial. So I did it for 6 months. I did hatha yoga, and the teacher, Mataji, she was very loving, very nice. She took a personal interest, and she was advising me and just offering me nice guidance and just her motherly love. I felt that.
Nice.
So I did all those asanas, and at the same time, I kind of stopped associating with my previous circle, which was just very materialistic people, where we were just getting stoned together and drinking and just speaking gibberish, like complete nonsense. And I was no longer serving my purpose. My vibration was raising, as they would say, you know, definitely. So I met one fella at that time, and he was kind of on the same wavelength. So we became good friends right away, very fast.
He was also doing yoga with you? Or?
No, he came a couple of times. I invited him to our classes, and we were doing kind of on our own. Sometimes I was going to his place. He was coming sometimes to me, and we at that time I started getting into psychedelic drugs. That was, you know, because it was part of New Age movement.
Okay,
New
yoga
Age,
and
yeah,
drugs.
psychedelics, because you know it's spiritual, you know.
Okay.
That's how it's presented, you know. It's like you're having these psychedelic trips with LSD and mushrooms, whatnot, and you're like, whoa, exploring the spiritual realms. And that was something new, and we were a lot into it.
Okay.
So we did our trips, LSD, and we started getting into the rave scene, which is quite intense. You know, there are even more heavy drugs there, a lot of dancing, a lot of techno, a lot of movement. So that was kind of an extra sense gratification for me. Yeah, but it was kind of liberating because the rave scene is exactly that. You know, these people, they're looking for an alternative. They're tired of the modern society and the kind of enslavement. You know, people feel like they're enslaved by the system. You know, they try to, you know, brainwash you with TV, whatnot. So that was the sentiment from that, from still is from this movement, and resonated with who I was at that time. So that's what we were doing, And like I said, I was so eager,
Okay.
so curious. I was just feeding myself with all kinds of information, researching, reading, and trying different diets and fasting. And it was a hodgepodge, just very passionate young boy, and my friend as well. And then at one point during those 6 months when I was practicing yoga, I had many realizations. Like yoga really gave me, like I was crying many times. I was getting emotionally detoxed, and those were probably some glimpses of sattva gun. That's how I explain it to myself,
Yes.
where I really felt a superior type of happiness, and it was so beautiful. It was so cool, and I started realizing that there is the source, there is this supreme intelligence that is guiding my life,
Wow.
and that there is a superior type of happiness that is there. It's beyond, it's beyond all the the bullshit that is there in the world. I always knew that kind of inside of me. So that was my quest. It was a quest for peace and for happiness. I knew that there is a bliss, a blissful happiness beyond this world. So in that way, with my friend at one point, we just having a blast together and just having a lot of philosophical conversations, discussions, and we ended up coming to the point that, hey, it's like, let's just go for it. We're just wasting our time here.
Wow.
Just break free and leave our families, get backpacks from the Decathlon. Decathlon
Yes.
was still not a thing in Bulgaria, I think.
Okay.
It was back in 2015, I think. I don't know if it was already here. But yeah, we just went to Decathlon. We bought ourselves hiking backpacks, some little bit of equipment, and yeah, we just decided to start traveling around the world.
What age were you?
I was 24 and he was 17, I think, or 18. He was quite.
You were 24.
Yeah, I was 24.
Oh, okay. So not teenager.
Yeah.
But were you working something or?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was part of my experience. I went to school in Italy. I completed my mid school, and then I went to high school, and I was fed up with school basically.
Okay.
The time when I went to high school, I was so depressed. I was so confused, and it was just bringing so much grief, and I wasn't able to go to school anymore. So I was going, but I wasn't going. I was cutting. Yeah, I was cutting up to the point where they just, how do they say, they just suspended me. So I had to repeat the year. I found another school which was like very easy, but it was like only bad boys, only men, and it was like they were like smoking,
Okay.
doing, just getting out and smoking and just doing mischief. And the teacher was like very, how do you say, like they were not caring. They were just giving us something on the blackboard and just leaving and just don't give a damn and letting us copy that type of school. But even there, they changed the law the last year where I was about to graduate. They changed the law, and we were cutting the lessons. We weren't going to school.
Okay.
So that was kind of regular.
Okay.
But that last year they changed the law, so we couldn't reach a certain amount of hours for certain. How do you say? For certain.
Okay.
For mathematics or physical education.
Okay.
And they suspended me again, so I had to repeat the year. I had the grades, everything was okay, but because we cut too much, too many lessons.
Yeah.
So that much was so heavy to go to school, even though it was easy.
It looks like
just
some kind of karma.
yeah. I was so fed up. I was so depressed, and then I was like, that's it. I don't want to repeat the year. I just dropped out of school.
Nice.
Yeah, I dropped out of
I will
school,
do
and
the
then
same.
my father was having some kind of a business, so I started helping him. I worked 1 year as a plumber. That was my official kind of job for 1 year, and didn't work out. I was still very frustrated from it. And I tried a couple of other things, just little bit of this, little bit of that, just checking out, and that was basically that's how I came to the conclusion that it's like nothing worse. I just have to go the unusual way and look for something more powerful. And yeah, that was the time where I tried modeling also in Italy. I
Oh,
went to a couple of castings. Yeah, with a modeling agency, they did a professional photo book, and was promising. They told me, yeah, you have good.
like future in this
Yeah.
field.
So I started working with the agency. I was going to a couple of castings, but I even that I felt like it's so, like the atmosphere in the entertainment and modeling industry is so superficial. It was like
Empty.
I was just trying to go away from that, and I was disgusted from it. But then I had it again in my face. These people who are addicted to cocaine and homosexuals, and not that they're bad people, but just I'm a man, so it's heavy, the lusting over you. And so I went for a couple of castings, and then I was like, that's it, fed up. And then I continued with my spiritual stuff. Then I became really like a hippie, like a hipster. I grew my beard,
Okay.
grew my hair. I was super skinny because I was fasting. I did a fruit fast and sun gazing, and I was even trying to do like a breatharian lifestyle, like just breathing, like a yogic
Like for
stuff.
how long time you did that?
Yeah, I did it for 3 months, I think, and I was taking also the psychedelics, and it damaged my body. I was like became super skinny, and even my yoga teacher was like, it's like, start eating, what are you doing? You're gonna die soon. I don't want you to come here anymore. You're gonna die during my lesson. I don't wanna go to jail. And I was so extreme. I was like, no, you don't know. Even my parents, they were
I'm
like,
yogi.
what are you doing? I was like emaciated like this, and I
Wow.
was limping with my leg because the body starts taking nutrients from the bones. I was limping with this leg.
What is
And
limping?
limping means like this,
Nakutsvaš.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, Krishna.
And but I was like really extreme because I was like, yeah, I know this is part of the detox,
Fanatic.
whatnot. Yeah. I was really fed up with the whole thing, and I was just looking for liberation, for happiness, for the truth. So that's that part. That's how I
Yeah.
some more details, and then
You bought the backpacks?
yeah, and then I just went into this rave scene, into the psychedelic world, and we just bought the backpacks. I told my father I'm gonna travel around the world walking on foot.
Walking.
His hair became even grayer than what they are.
Poor father.
Yeah. But they saw that, I was so, because I have a very intense personality, and they know that they can't, they can't really counteract them. Whatever I fix my mind on, that's it.
Yeah.
And I did it. We just went out of home one night, and we just got the train. We just started traveling.
And where did you go?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Before that, we traveled. Actually, the original plan was that my friend's father had a boat. He had a boat for many years. He had like he did his life also. He was managing bars, running a bar, and he was kind of wealthy and having a
Okay.
Ferrari, whatnot. So, but at that time he wasn't doing any more well because he was old and kind of everything failed. But he was living on his boat, 16-meter boat, like a old school. It was like a pirate ship. Very very nice. I have some photos I can show you. So we were like, yeah, let's get that boat and go across the Atlantic Ocean and go to South America.
Wow.
Yeah, because my friend, he's half Venezuelan and half Italian, so he has
Uh-huh.
some parents in
Yeah.
Venezuela. But we looked into Costa Rica. We saw that there are like some um, cheap plots of land. So I was like, yeah, let's just make some money, buy land there, and just go off grid and create our community.
Wow.
That was our initial idea, kind of.
Okay.
So actually, why our first travel, that's the train. That was another instance. But our first travel was we had to go to Rome because his father was going, and then that's where we started. We went first to Florence,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like taking drugs and just enjoying life. And in Florence, we went to the city and just being hippies,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And then out of a sudden, one day, while we were walking around in the main places, um, the devotees, the Hare Krishnas, they came out of the corner.
Wow.
Yeah.
Harinam.
And they were like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, like big bunch of brahmacharis and some other devotees and matajis. And I saw them and I was like, whoa, these people are amazing. They were like wearing their robes, and I was like, I already knew about the mantras, because of yoga. We were doing
Okay.
kirtan at the yoga place, and I really liked the kirtan, and I knew what it is.
Oh, wow.
And I saw them wearing these classical,
Yes.
beautiful robes and being shaved. And I was like, whoa, these people are so cool, and they're spreading spirituality, like so bold. I immediately felt connected with this. And one of the brahmacharis, he saw us, and he came to us. He offered a book, like you do, book distribution.
You
It was a
also do
Krishna book.
sometimes.
Yeah, I used to do more in the past. So gave us the book, asked for donation. We gave him something, and he's like, please come to the temple. It's just outside of the city. Villa Vrindavana is one of the major
I've never
projects
been
of
there.
ISKCON. It's very beautiful. Highly recommend.
Yeah.
Even for leisure time, like for leisure spiritual time, just to go there and guest house and good food, go around Florence. And and we were like, yeah, this is like spiritual community. I already knew about these ashrams, and I was very curious because I was trying to quit smoking. I was smoking a lot. I quit all my bad habits, and I knew that this is a place where they do this kind of stuff, spiritual stuff, which is substantial and is gonna help you with all these habits and just go deeper. So we went there, and immediately we found some devotees. We connected with them. They were kind of similar vibe with us.
Okay.
They just joined recently, and they were like also like potheads,
yeah.
and then we engaged in a conversation, and then they're like, yeah, you guys should stay with us, it's so cool here. And then out of a sudden, one of the managers, one of the seniors from the temple, one Mataji, she came out from the hill. It was coming like this. There was a little hill, and we saw her, and she was like Mother Teresa, like the Virgin Mary, not even Mother Teresa. The Virgin Mary was like beaming with light, so pure. And he's like, Hare Krishna, how are you? And I started speaking with her, and we immediately connected. I told her, we're traveling, I'm doing yoga. She saw that we're kind of familiar with the Vedic stuff and the yoga community. And she's like, Krishna is sending you. We just needed people. Ratha Yatra is coming. We need,
Wow.
we need a hand, And we're like, yeah, Krishna is sending us.
Wow. That's
So
nice.
yeah, they immediately kind of
Engaged you in service.
yeah, and they hosted us, which nowadays it's much more difficult. These things don't happen like this because nowadays it's more strict. But they saw that we are kind of youngsters and we have a goodwill. So they immediately engaged us. Our first service, I remember, was moving one huge stage. It was the stage for Holi.
Okay.
We had to move it from one place to the other. It was an endeavor.
Heavy service.
Yeah, well, it was fine, and they saw that we did it, and they're like, yeah, you can stay with us. So we stayed in the ashram, and
Really? Wow.
yeah, and we were like hippies with beards, Like I had a bag. Inside that bag, I had a grow box with mushrooms. And we put it in the wardrobe, because you have to keep it in the dark. And we were like growing mushrooms in the ashram. We were just from the street, you know. And oh boy, it was such a great experience, you know, in Villa Vrindavana, this cosmopolitan community, and it was the 3 weeks, the biggest festival. They had Ratha Yatra, Shravanam Kirtanam, which is 24 hours kirtan, and Holi.
Wow. And you
Colors.
spent 3 weeks there?
Yeah, 3 festivals in a row. And so many people came, and all these celebrities like Madhava, Kadambakarana Swami was there also for Shravanam Kirtanam, and Tarana Chaitanya, and many others, you know.
Yeah.
And it was such a great time to be there. And the prasadam, I was like, wow, so good, so good. I remember when I first tried Goranga potatoes they cooked. It was my first time in this life trying coriander. You know, there's like plenty of coriander and turmeric. It was so good. I loved it. I love coriander. It's such a great spice. and I knocked out myself. I just ate so much. We were eating so much and just
Probably
getting
you
knocked
gained
out.
some weight because
No, I was quite skinny at that time. You know, my vata was very high, so I wasn't absorbing much, so I was always skinny. But still, we were eating a lot. Yeah, we ate a lot.
a lot of prasadam.
Yeah, so we met all these devotees, very nice. Everybody was very merciful to us. Every single devotee was giving something, was contributing, you know, to our spirit, to our Krishna consciousness, giving a little piece of information.
It works like that.
Yeah, and I particularly remember connecting with one lady. She was my age, a little older, I think, 1 or 2 years, and I really liked her personality, and we kind of connected. And she was preaching a lot to me, and I was sharing my stuff, and she was sharing her stuff, and she was being heavy with me because I was like sharing my body things and just trying to preach to her maybe, but not like in a toxic way. I was just innocent, and I was open to their thing because I really saw how they're serious people. You know, they're like very disciplined and really walking the talk, not just you know, armchair philosophy, but they were really waking up in the morning and doing their sadhana and chanting, meditating, doing service. They live by their word, and really trying to be good people, not say bad stuff, and you know how the energy works, and you know, don't think bad stuff. And it really resonated with me. And then the mantra, they told me, just wash pots and just think about Krishna, chant the mantra. And I felt connected with this practice, and I tried it, and I saw that it really works. I really felt peaceful, and this Mataji, she was preaching to me heavily. I was showing her some of my videos of some mumbo jumbo yogis that I saw on YouTube that are explaining about, you know, like doing yoga and smoking ganja, all this kind of nonsense from the new age. And she was like so upset. She was like, it's like, just, this is all bogus. Like, these are all fake people. Just look at Srila Prabhupada. Just read the books of Srila Prabhupada to understand what is a real spiritual master. This is all crap. Just and I took it because she was like very strong. She was really able to breach my pride and false ego, because I was really into it. I was preaching to everybody. I've been always preaching, you know. I was preaching impersonalism and materialism. But yeah, she told me you should just read Prabhupada's books and you understand everything. So we had a great time. We met a lot of people. I was impressed by the devotees. And then we got a bunch of books. I got the Gita. I tried reading, but my mind was so intoxicated. It just was too much. Everything I could relate to, besides the fact that Krishna is God. I couldn't. It was too much for me.
Okay.
It's like, why Krishna gods? Like Brahman is gods, like the energy and stuff. That was more relatable.
Yes.
But still, I appreciated how they were devoted to their practice. And then we continued with our travels. We went to Rome, so we went to the boat and we lived in the boat with my friend for a couple of months. And that was another nice time. Felt like a pirate.
So you were sailing? Yeah.
No, it was stationary. It was
okay.
on the docks.
Okay.
And we were just waiting for something, and then we had to move to another place and then maybe prepare from that place to sail. across the Atlantic Ocean. We weren't even sure that his father's gonna give it to us, but we tried.
Okay.
But then the boat broke even before having that certainty. The boat broke, and then we're like, okay, the boat broke, so we have to figure out an alternative.
Change the plan.
Yeah, so we decided to just go back to the north, visit family again,
Okay.
and then start for the Rio trip.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what we did. We went back, and I had a little fall down again. I kind of got attached to my place again, and we stayed like a couple of weeks. And I felt enslaved again by my environment, and I was like, no, I have to break through again.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when we bought the we bought the backpacks before that. Yeah, we already had them, but yeah, I had a little bit of a fall down in a sense that I was getting attached again and maybe changing my plan in my mind, but I was like, no, this is mental slavery. I have to, I have to break free from this pattern. I have to just get out. And yeah, one day my friend came, he stayed with me, and then next day, and then another friend also joined. He was kind of spontaneous out of nowhere. He was also kind of thirsty for adventures.
Okay.
So one evening the next day in the evening, we just got all of our stuff and we just left. We got the train and we started traveling. Yeah, so we went to the coast, to the Ligurian coast, like the Riviera of northern Italy. Is like one of the most beautiful places. So we started to go there. Our plan B was we wanted to go to France, Spain, just hang out a little bit and wait until November and then go to Tenerife.
Oh.
Tenerife is the Canary Islands, which is it's warm during the winter. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We went to France, and it was a lot of adventures, just sleeping on the beaches in a small tent, 3 people, and smoking ganja all the time, and just meeting all kinds of strange people and homeless people.
And how do you have money?
Yeah, my father was sending me like $200 or something. My uncle also, they were giving me.
They gave you money to just travel around.
Yeah, because they saw that they can't do anything, so they were kind of supporting me.
Nice.
And we weren't spending much, like traveling and living like this. You don't spend much because you also meet a lot of people. They invite you to their place and you share food, and you do a bonfire, and it's like such a liberating experience in my life. I felt like it was so good. I felt so glad that I did it, and. Just meeting a lot of people and having exchanges and seeing how the world is, and you kind of see how it's not just that narrow-minded conception that you've been taught that you just have to function like this. There's a whole world outside and so many lifestyles and possibilities where you can find your place, There's so many things that you could do, and you don't need to have a paycheck to survive, It's like we met so many people that are living like that for many years, just like beggars in many ways, Street artists, doing art on the street and getting donations. That was so fascinating to me, You don't need to depend on institutions or to have a boss, a job, just freedom. You do whatever you want.
Nice.
And if you want, you have these communities like hippie communities, and where you can have your home. You can build it from scratch from recycled materials. So that was kind of very liberating for me. So yeah, we went to France. We were sleeping on the beaches and just having cappuccinos in the morning, and a spliff with a cappuccino and a croissant. And then we went to Spain. Spain was even better. Spain is such a nice place. We went to Barcelona, party people, and we stayed for a while there, and then we started going even more south to visit Valencia. So we visited Valencia, and then they wanted to go even more south to Granada and
I've been in
Malaga.
Granada.
Yeah, it's even more warm there.
Yeah.
But I found a cheap flight from Barcelona to Tenerife. It
Okay.
was like 50 euros, I think. It was like so good. I was like, I just got it, and I'm like, guys, I'm getting cold here. I want to go there because it's much warmer.
Okay.
So I just left them. They said, yeah, we're gonna go for 1 or 2 weeks further south to visit Granada and Malaga, and then they also booked their flights to come to Tenerife. So I went back to Barcelona and I went to Tenerife.
Alone.
Yeah, alone, yeah. And Tenerife was even more
What did you do
party.
there? Like, you
I
met
was
some people.
Yeah, I met a couple of street artists and other people, and um, I don't remember where, but I found a place to sleep somewhere. I squatted a building. We were like getting inside buildings,
Okay.
like, abandoned buildings.
Like homeless person.
Yeah, we were homeless, homeless hippies.
Nice.
Then my friends joined. Yeah, we were just hanging out, and there
You
was
were
a hippie community there, so we found each other.
Okay, okay.
And yeah.
You were really hippie in the.
Yeah, in many ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was completely identifying with that, but yeah, in many ways. And then at one point we met another Sankirtan devotee who was distributing books.
In Tenerife.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, she found us and she gave us Ishopanishad, I think, and she was like preaching to us a little bit, and we were like, yeah, we were this summer we were in Villa Vrindavan, it was so cool, and she was like, yeah, should come. We have a temple here, so she invited us, and I had a really really good time with the Hare Krishna, so that was a very good impression. So I started going there almost every Sunday. I think I didn't miss a Sunday, maybe one time or two times, but. And I connected with the temple president there. He was kind of similar background. He was also a hippie in the past, so we pretty much connected together. And it was very sweet. The hippies were also going in the Sundays and just listening to the class. And
Nice.
we were having a nice feast, and I started helping out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, a lot of adventures. Many things happened there. I found one while we were near the beach, just hanging out and smoking and drinking. One lady came by and just started joking with me and flirting, and we became intimate, and she invited me in her home. So out of a sudden, I had a woman. I was living in her place. Stuff like this. And we started speaking about serious stuff, and I was like, okay, serious stuff.
Okay, as you say.
It's something new. Serious stuff. It was just all lust, we're just drinking a lot, and we were going to rave parties, and I started getting her into psychedelic drugs, ecstasy, and like very, very toxic. It was all good, but also from the other side, I was getting intoxicated. I was very emaciated and skinny, and my mind was getting crazy. I was like from so many drugs, and I started realizing that okay, it's like the real purpose of my journey was to look for happiness and to give up my bad habits. But I saw how I was again getting into nonsense, and I was literally getting crazy, and then this relationship started becoming toxic very quickly, because it was just based on lust. We were just hanging out most of the time, and she started pressing me and imposing her views on me, and I was imposing my views on her, and just clashing a lot. She's a nice person at the same time. But in the meantime, I was going to the Hare Krishnas every Sunday, and I was getting purified by that. And I remember one time, Patita Pavana Prabhu, temple president, he was telling us how we are calling Krishna like little children, and our mood should be, when we're chanting the mantra, that we are like children, like little kids which is crying for the mother. So in that mood, we have to surrender and just, try to serve Krishna by by chanting and by having that kind of emotion, because we are lost in this world, we're suffering. So I really like that, and I tried it later in the kirtan, and I really felt Krishna's mercy, Krishna's love. That was it was a very powerful experience. And yeah, and then it was 2016 December. It was we were having more and more kind of quarrels with my girlfriend, and at one point she kicked me out of her place. I got angry at her like really badly a couple of times, and she kicked me out, and I went to my squatted place. Yeah, where I was living. It was like a long storefront, and in front there was the Atlantic Ocean. And in the morning I was sleeping on cardboard. It was so good, like best sleeps in my life, sleeping on cardboard. I was just waking up and the sun was rising, and I was just, smoking my ganja and just meditating, and the sun is rising. I was like, oh, such a nice life. And that was one of those moments when she kicked me out, and I was there, and I was also frustrated with myself, and I felt like, let me read the book that she gave me, the Upanishad. I threw it somewhere in the corner of the place. I found it, in the middle of the trash. There was a lot of trash around. So I read the Upanishad. I read introduction, invocation, and by the time I was at mantra 1, I was like, whoa, I really felt how this is resonating with me, and Prabhupada's words really penetrated my heart, and I felt like this is what I've been looking for my entire life. This is like,
wow,
it's like extraordinary. This person, like Prabhupada, he manifested in my heart. I really felt touched. Yeah.
So important.
And I felt like I had an epiphany. And epiphany means like you're having like one of those moments which is like boom, like mind blown. You're seeing like the Virgin Mary or Jesus. You're having a revelation. So I had a revelation. Krishna was explaining, Ishavasya Midam Sarvam. Everything in this world is property of God, and we are suffering because we are not acknowledging that, and we're rebellious, and we're rascals, and this world is complete, and Krishna is the complete whole, and he's the creator, and he's wonderful. And I was like, whoa, this is the real stuff. I felt like Prabhupada is the real deal. And I just felt in my heart, I just have to surrender to this. Wow. And a little bit after New Year, I went to the temple and I asked, can I join? I'm fed up with my life. I'm drifting again. I just want to do something substantial, but it's powerful. We already developed a relationship over the months. Well, I was like already 2 months there, November, December, and he's like, yeah. There were a couple of Matajis, so he told me just wait for 3 days, they're leaving, and then you can join. And that's how I joined. I went there, and immediately I started reading the books, waking up early, chanting 16 rounds. Just being a devotee. I put a dhoti and...
You shaved your hair?
No,
beard?
not yet. I shaved my beard. That was the first step at one point because it was too much. And then he took me, went around. He was doing some collection of Lakshmi. There are a lot of Hindu places there. They're selling like electronics and stuff. So he's clever. So he asked every shop to have a little donation box, and he just goes every now and then and collects for the temple, because Indians are pious. So he took me, and we went to all the islands, not all of them, but most of them, because there are like 7 islands, like beautiful place. And every island has like a particular type of habitats and black beaches, like volcanic. And I met other devotees, and we just had a very nice time, and I was helping him here and there. And I stopped smoking. I tried so many times to stop smoking in the past, no result. But just by chanting, by following the process, I stopped smoking in 2 weeks, like completely.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then I stopped everything else. I stopped all the psychedelic drugs. I was feeling how my subtle body is healing, because they damaged my subtle body with all this lifestyle and whatnot. So I was literally feeling it. It was like a very peculiar feeling in my head, in my, you know. And those first couple of weeks, I felt like I was flying. I was so blissful. I was just eating the books with my eyes. Like I never read so much in my life. I read the Perfection of Yoga, I read Beyond Birth and Death, and The Science of Self-Realization, and I was reading the Gita and some other small books, just read a lot. And so I stayed there for a couple of months more, and then I went back to visit my parents in Italy.
Okay.
And then I went to visit Villaggio Hare Krishna, which is nearby, like 2 hours drive. But I didn't connect with the vibe there, so I went back to Villa Vrindavana. And I was already a devotee. And yeah, when I was there, I shaved. I was already dedicated, and Kadambakana Maharaj was there. That's when I met him.
Okay.
So this is
Jai.
long story short.
Yeah.
There are many details, a lot of
It's amazing
interesting
story.
things. Yeah. And yeah, I met Maharaj, and he gave me instructions, because it's quite clear Prabhupada he's emphasizing so much in his books, constantly emphasizing that, spiritual master.
Yeah.
You have to get a spiritual master if you're serious. Spiritual life means the direct representative of the Lord is your spiritual master. So spiritual master, accepting a spiritual master, and serving the spiritual master, following in the footsteps of the spiritual master. I was like, yeah, where is the spiritual master, man? Bring it on. And immediately, Kanamakana Maharaj was there. It was again that time of the year. They did 24-hour kirtan, and he was recovering from his operation. He had cancer and was very weak. So he was staying 1 or 2 weeks plus after the festival, just to,
Yes, to relax.
to be peaceful. And I saw him. I was very impressed by his lectures, and I just felt really connected with his personality and the way how he's very humorous and always light-hearted, and his kirtans, of course. And he interacted with me in a very personal way a couple of times. So I wanted to speak with him. I hesitated for a couple of days. I was in anxiety. But then one time I caught him when he was going back in the evening from the temple. I went to him and I touched his foot like this. I learned it from the devotees. I didn't know how to approach him, but that's what I did. And I said, Maharaj, I want to speak with you. And he said, okay, tomorrow we can go for a walk. And tomorrow came, and so we went for a walk in the forest. It was like very mystical. Went to the lake, then we came back. There's a very beautiful lake there. Maharaj never was. He was like, okay, bring me to the lake. So we went there and we came back, and we had a nice talk. Then in the end, he's like, okay, what do you want? And I told him, Maharaj, I want Krishna.
Nice.
And he's like, okay, then go to India.
Go to India.
Go to India, yeah. And he gave me the email of one of his disciples. He said, this is a very, very nice, very sweet devotee. Just connect with him and go with him to India.
Who was that devotee?
Who was that? Tulsi Prabhu.
Jai.
So I sent him an email, and we exchanged numbers. I called him. They were in Varna distributing books like they usually do.
So you came here in Bulgaria?
It was August, middle of August or something, or beginning of August.
2017 or 16?
No, 2016. Yeah, and yeah, we connected, to see how he is. He's very sweet, and then I came here and I met the devotees for the first time, the Bulgarian devotees. And Pandav Prabhu was there. I remember I entered the temple and he embraced me like very warmly, and
wow.
Yeah, right away they gave me prasadam, like very, very nice reception, and then just we had a Bhakta program crash course, and you were there. I remember seeing you. You were
Really?
coming from time to time.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
I was coming.
And Bhakta Svetli was there. Sahasranam Prabhu. Vamshivadan was just starting to get into it, and Mataji.
Varjeshwari.
Vamsheshwari.
Okay, I like that.
Vishnu Rasa was also there, and we did like a Bhakta crash course, Bhakta program crash course for a couple of weeks, and then to Pandava, they usually go for a couple of weeks also on a traveling Sankirtan and visiting some places, devotees' homes. So they took me with them, and again, it was another adventure for me. I really liked it. I did my first book distribution. I learned so many things about the scriptures, about the culture. And yeah, we were just together with Tusi Panda. We became one unit.
No.
And yeah, then we went to India. That was another adventure. I did Bhakti Shastri right away.
Oh,
Yeah.
and you put orange that time?
I put orange. It was still white. I put orange next year at my initiation. It was 2017 Gopashtami in
Nice.
Kartik
Yeah.
in October, I think,
Mm.
in Vrindavan, Goshala. Yeah.
Nice.
I asked Maharaj, can I put saffron? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Just ask your superiors,
I remember Pandava Prabhu was sending to us a picture of you.
Yeah,
in
they were
Shastra.
very happy,
Yeah.
This because they saw I'm eager, I have capacity to study the scriptures, and I'm doing service. Struggling a lot also with my conditionings, but really trying to push forward. And they were really glad, and they gave me all their mercy. They encouraged me, and yeah, it just happened, and it worked in many ways. I did brahmachari lifestyle, and yeah, for 4 or 5 years, that was our program. They were going for 5 or 6 months to India.
Yes.
They were studying, I was studying, then come back. We went to Vyasa Puja the first year. And I really felt connected with with Kamakana Maharaj, but I wanted to wait to experiment more and meet other
Okay.
spiritual masters. So in Mayapur, I had the great chance to do that.
Mhm.
But then we came back, we went to the Vyasa Puja, and
In Radhadesh?
that's when I
Yeah.
understood, okay,
Okay.
he's my spiritual master. I
Mm.
already knew it, but that's when I asked him for shelter, and he said, yeah, no problem.
Jai.
And from that moment on, book distribution with Johnny Tai, we went with his van. He had a van, and distributing in Germany, in Switzerland, and King's Day. Just traveling around Western Europe, mostly in Germany.
Mhm.
And I did that for this kind of program, and then back to Bulgaria.
Yeah.
What we do here. We
For
stay a
the
little bit in Sofia, then we go to the coast, Varna,
yes. Book
Bhakteswavik's
distribution.
place
Yes.
in Briss. So much nectar. Purusha Chutta Prabhu comes, some other devotees, distributing in all the small
Yeah.
resort places, and then coming back, Jamashtami, Ratha Yatra, and then again
then
India.
India.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is amazing life
Yeah, I
actually.
did it for 4 or 5 years up to COVID. Yeah.
Yeah, and COVID time you were here. All the brahmacharis you
No,
were.
COVID time I was in India. I spent nine months in India.
But you also were here.
And then I
remember.
came here, yeah. Then I came here 2020,
Yeah.
end of the summer, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. Because we also came here in the.
And then 2021, yeah, it was end of August. And then 2021, November, I went to New York.
Yeah, Maharaj sent it.
Yeah, Maharaj. At one point, yeah, he was getting involved during those years when I was traveling and being in Radhadesh with him. He was just getting involved with the project in New York. Jadvaita Maharaj was calling him late at night because, with the time difference and whatnot. And then a year after that, he kind of saw that I'm a little bit more mature, I guess. And he's like, yeah, Matanga should go there.
Nice.
I was excited. I was like, yeah, man, I want to go to New York.
Yeah.
Sounds like an exciting place to be.
You're how to say, adventurer?
Yeah. I wasn't really planning to go to the US, or I wanted to visit definitely New York, America, and just check it out. But Maharaj said, no, go there. You need a structure, he told me, because I was like volatile, still volatile, and just hopping around. They were trying to anchor me in Mayapur to study. That was working, but then I was like traveling from place to place and just being traveling monk. But Maharaj told me, he saw that I'm just spacing out a lot also. He's like, no, you need a structure. You either go with Harinam Ruchi or or you find a tempo. So with Harinam Ruchi didn't work out. They were packed. There was a queue at that time.
Okay.
So he kind of inspired me to go to New York, and that's what I did.
Yeah. And now, new adventure.
And now I just came back from New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, another chapter closed.
And
And now I'm no longer a brahmachari since last June, and things developed quite quick as it's been happening in my life. You know, another twist of fate. And I'm already associating with one
very nice girl.
very nice girl, Vaishnavi, and we're about to get married, but we decided to give it some more time, and soon we're gonna get married, probably here in Bulgaria. She's from New York, pure New Yorker from Brooklyn.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are waiting for her here in Bulgaria.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure you connect very nicely and have a nice friendship with her. She's very artistical and stuff. And that's more or less my devotional life. It's been around 9 years, I think, already.
9 years.
Yeah, 2026 will be 10th year.
So many things happened.
Yeah. When I look back, sometimes I just get frustrated because I am stuck in my devotional service. I'm dealing with so many conditionings. But when I look back, it's a lot of things went through, and I changed a lot. You know, my mind changed a lot. Even now, like big change from brahmachari lifestyle to transitioning to grihastha, and I just see the world different. Also the age, you know, I'm no longer a spring chicken like Tulsi Prabhu likes to say. Yeah. So I'm seeing the world in a different way.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy to be back, to be in your
We are
nice
also
association. You guys are very warm, very loving, and we have such a nice community here. Small, but you know, quality.
Yeah.
So I'm glad. So my mother and my sister probably gonna come soon. Just family.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was amazing that you took me through your life.
Yeah, a roller coaster.
Yes. So I'm very happy you're here, and we are waiting for the next adventure.
Yes, it's coming soon. I think I'm going back to India.
Okay. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Jai Jai.
Very nice.